Welcome everyone to the fourth meeting of the House Standing Committee on Small Business Information Technology for the 2023 regular session. A special welcome to any guests we have visiting with us today. Do I have any members of the committee that have guests they would like to introduce? Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Chairman. Members of the committee, I'd like to introduce you to my two amazing shadows today. This is Fiona and this is Phoebe. They are 9-year-old twins. Their last name is Suholtz. Some of you may know their mother, Ellen Suholtz, and their father, Dave Suholtz. Please help me make them feel welcome.
They do make our committee look much better. Anybody else have guests? Okay, if not, before we get started, I'd like to go over a few reminders. Please silence all cell phones at this time. If you'd like to speak on a bill, please use the sign-up sheet at the entrance of to the room. Request to speak within the chair's discretion based upon time restraints for its meeting and information already presented. Just a reminder that no signs are permitted in the rooms. If any member has a question or comment, please signal Aubrey or Brett. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Representative Dotson. Representative Pfister.
Here.
Representative Freeland. Representative Grossberg.
Present.
Representative Heath.
Here.
Representative King.
Present.
Representative Kulkarni.
Present.
Representative Maddox. Representative Roberts.
Here.
Representative Stalker. Representative Tate.
Here.
Representative Truitt. Here. Representative White. Here. Representative Witten.
Here.
Vice Chair Lawrence.
Here.
Chair Pratt.
And also reminder, we have members in other committees testifying back and forth, so you're going to see people coming and going. Doesn't mean they're mad, just means I've got other things going on this time of year. All right, up first, we have House Bill 394. I'll be leaving the chair and being presentation. At this point in time, Mr. Lawrence, Co-Chair Lawrence, will you chair the committee?
Thank you, Representative Pratt. Will you introduce yourself and your guests for the record?
I'm Philip Pratt, Representative 62nd District.
I'm Charlie Vance, CEO of Current HR. Sorry about that.
Kristen Baldwin, Director of State Government Affairs with NAPIO.
If you're ready, sir, we'll proceed. We're going to start off. These people know a lot about this more than I do, so we're going to start off with Kristen and Charles.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Kristen Metters Baldwin with the National Association of Professional Employer Organizations, or NAPIO, the largest trade association in the PEO industry. I'll ask my colleague, Charlie Vance, to talk a little bit more about the PEO industry here in the state of Kentucky and what services they provide. I'm here to ask for your support of House Bill 394 on behalf of the members of NAPIO. The entire PEO industry is thankful for the support during the first week of the legislative session. You do remember I was here back in the first week of January to pass out House Bill 10 from this committee. House Bill 10 delayed the implementation and registration for PEOs in the Commonwealth. The bill we are here today is requesting your support for is a cleanup bill from 2022 and would also allow the PEO industry the option to either report for their state unemployment insurance at either the PEO level or the employer level. Sections 1, 2, and 3 of this bill include clarifying language related to the NAPIO Model Act, again passed in 2022, and it specifically clarifies financial requirements for PEOs at the annual renewal and at the registration fee for PEO groups. Section 4, the final section of this bill, allows PEOs to continue reporting at the employer level for state unemployment insurance purposes. The Model Act that was passed last year transitions all reporting to from the employer level to the PEO level. This bill would allow the option to select one of those two reporting options. The transition from reporting one system to another is a very, very heavy lift by the PEO industry, and many of them have requested the option to maintain the status quo with their clients. I'll end my remarks by respectfully requesting your support of House Bill 394 and pass it over to Charlie to talk a little more about the industry itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baldwin. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. And just by way of review, there are 60 NAPIO members providing services in the state of Kentucky. That represents about 1,500 employers in the state of Kentucky and approximately 30,000 worksite employees. My company, Current HR, is one of those PEOs. I'm an owner of that company, and we provide HR services and help employers comply with the complexities and ever increasing complex employment law, especially with work from home and state to state. And I'm here to answer questions if there are any, and I just want to thank the cooperation from this committee and Mr. Pratt. Thank you.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion on the bill and a second. Is there any discussion? Representative Roberts.
Thank you for bringing this and for following up so quickly to the legislation we've already passed for the pause here. I do have one question for you, which is if you could just talk to me about the involvement with the Education and Labor Cabinet here and any potential appropriation needs that may be associated. Thanks.
Thank you for that question. Yes, we have been in communication with the Kentucky Education and Labor Cabinet throughout this since the bill was passed last year in terms of implementation. On this bill specifically, we've been working with them. They've reviewed the bill, looked at it, can't speak on their behalf, but they have brought to our attention the concern of appropriations. We're waiting for an estimate from them about what additional appropriations they're looking for that could potentially be in a future appropriations bill. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Representative Dotson, Representative Pfister,
Yes.
Representative Freeland, Representative Grossberg,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative King,
Yes, sir.
Representative Kulkarni,
Yes.
Representative Lawrence, Representative Maddox, Representative Roberts,
Yes.
Representative Stalker, Representative Tate, Representative Truitt,
Yes.
Representative White, Representative Witten,
Yes.
Chairman Pratt.
Yes.
Thank you for presenting. Let's see, House Bill 394 passes in committee with a favorable expression. The same should do so on the House floor. Thank you guys for presenting today.
Representative Maddox, you used to enter the room. Would you like to enter a vote on the last bill? Thank you, ma'am. Again, like I said, you'll see people coming and going out of our committee just this time of year. So, all right, next for consideration is House Bill 394. No, excuse me, 483 is mine. Let's say this time of year, House Bill 483. Would presenters please approach the table and introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, Chairman Pratt. Representative Steve Doan, House District 69.
Abby Piper.
Please proceed.
All right. Before you today for consideration is House Bill 483, also known as the Biometric Information Protection Act. So I want to start with this act with what is a biometric scanner or a biometric identification. So on my finger, my wedding ring, is a biometric device. It captures all of my personal information. It tells you about how I slept last night, what my blood oxygen level is during all times of the day, my heartbeat, everything that is me. Your cell phone in your pocket captures biometric information. When you go to unlock your screen, usually you have a face unlock on it. Or if you log into the computers in the Capitol with your finger, it's capturing your fingerprint. So what this act does, it protects all of your personal biometric information. There's really 5 pillars to this bill, but the most important parts are that it requires large private entities collecting that biometric information to make publicly available schedules for destroying and retaining that information. So under the bill, anyone that is going to hold on to that information, they have 30 days from the date that you tell them to destroy or get rid of that information. Why is that important? When your personal identifying healthcare information gets out into third parties' hands, it's not like your password. If someone hacks that information, you can't just go change your password. Or you can go change your password. You can't just go change your DNA. Or you can't change your personal healthcare information or your face even. So that's why it's important that we have this. Private entities, they must get written consent. So it can't be, and it has to be separate from a use terms and agreements. So when you click those terms and agreements that are on your cell phone there, it's got to be separate outside of that. So you're personally being notified that you're doing that. And also, they can't provide your information to third parties, which is the important part here. There's opt-in and opt-out provisions in this bill that would require them to get your permission if they're going to send something out to a third party. So if you don't want your private health data out there, you don't have to let that happen. There are some teeth to this bill. There is a right for a civil action. I expect there will be some testimony against this, probably related to a civil action. As an attorney, we're going to throw those in just about every bill, we draft. But what this one does, and it's very different than other states, it allows you a private cause of action. There was recently some litigation regarding White Castle on this issue that resulted in a $15 billion judgment. Now, some of you are going to get sticker shock on that. The Illinois provisions that was litigated under are not included in this bill. There were mandatory fees for each and every liquidated damages clauses is what they're called, for each and every violation. We don't have this in here, so ours is a little bit different in that respect, that you would just leave it up to a jury or leave it up to a judge to decide those things. This does not cover, it covers private entities, large private entities over $10 million. It does not cover government. So, and I believe that the Chiefs Association were on board with this. So, we have government support as well as private support on this. And I think that's it, unless you have anything you'd like to add on it.
Nope. We'll take any questions you may have.
Yep. Thank you.
Before we have questions, we also have someone speaking in opposition to the bill. I think they're doing remote. Are we ready? All right. If you don't mind, sir, please introduce yourself for the record and proceed with testimony.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Andrew Kingman. I represent the State Privacy and Security Coalition. We are a coalition of over 30 companies and trade associations across a number of sectors. My background is not only as an advocate, but also as a privacy compliance lawyer. So I have helped clients comply with the Illinois version of this law, and very much appreciate your time and the committee's time this morning. We have significant and very grave doubts about this bill moving forward here, and there's a few reasons for that. But I think it's important first to lay out what this bill is. This bill was passed less than a year after the invention of the iPhone in Illinois. And there are some very important ways in which the online ecosystem has evolved that this bill does not reflect. And I'm happy to get into that if you folks would like. But in the last 15 years, not a single state has replicated this statute. Our coalition does believe very strongly in privacy protections for consumers, and we are working in the Senate to ensure that comprehensive privacy legislation, which also protects biometric information, but does so in a much more balanced way, that privacy legislation would follow the framework that Virginia, Utah, Colorado, and Connecticut have set out in the way that they protect biometric information. But this bill risks repeating the mistakes of Illinois and causing significant cybersecurity threats to consumers, and I'll explain why. We have seen in Illinois the private right of action create an absolute cottage industry for class action lawsuits. So consumers will end up being less safe because there is no exemption for activities that prevent consumer fraud and promote security. And so the litigation risk, as it has in Illinois, overwhelms any ability to offer these services that keep Kentucky consumers safe. So in Illinois, companies that use biometric information to provide security and anti-fraud services have left the state or turned down their services. I've personally counseled clients because of the litigation risk not to offer their services in Illinois because the litigation risk is so high. So in the last 5 years, trial lawyers in Illinois have initiated over 1,000 class action lawsuits. And of those 1,000 class action lawsuits, one single case has gone to trial. The state Supreme Court, in the White Castle case that the sponsor mentioned, in which will likely put White Castle out of business, has asked the legislature to revise the statute to stop this abuse of the private right of action. And Illinois is considering amendments by both Democrats and Republicans to the statute due to this abuse. The bill also has significant anti-privacy and anti-security consequences for consumers because the bill provides an access right for consumers to access their biometric information. But the bill provides no mechanism for entities to authenticate the consumer to make sure that the consumer is who they say they are. And because of the PRA, would be required to return that information back to the consumer. Now, we think that is anti-privacy and anti-security because it opens the door for people to impersonate consumers to obtain biometric and other sensitive information. And we also believe that biometric information is sensitive enough that it should not be transferred back and forth from companies to consumers. So many of the privacy statutes that have passed, again, based on that Virginia framework, but even in California, include specific provisions that prohibit companies from returning this kind of data to consumers because of the cybersecurity risk. And again, there's no exemption for cybersecurity or anti-fraud uses. So biometrics represent a generational improvement over knowledge-based questions like what color is your car or what your favorite food is. But there's no ability to use those here, and businesses that do will be sued for doing that. Businesses also that provide anti-fraud services, because of the lack of the exemption, fraudsters will not obviously give opt-in consent to have their biometric information collected. And so the consequence of that is that, they're the only ones from whom biometric information is not collected in the cybersecurity or anti-fraud context. So, happy to elaborate if needed, but we believe this has extremely negative privacy and cybersecurity implications for consumers. We've seen that happen in Illinois, and that's the reason that it hasn't been replicated in the 15 years since. Thank you.
Would you like to reply to this, Mr. Doan, or just take questions?
I'll just take questions. Thank you.
All right, we have questions from Representative King.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like a reply to that. Logistically, and I know you mentioned that government is excluded from this, but I do have a fingerprint access to our chamber computer right now. So I'm just wondering, if I'm beat next year or retire, what happens to my fingerprint? And I know that's not exactly according to your bill because you said government's exempt, but do you know how that works, or does anybody know what's going to happen to my fingerprint?
I do not, but I'd be happy to circle back with you and talk to our LRC IT tech to find out.
Representative Grossberg. Yep. All right, that's the end of the questions at this point in time. Hear a motion on the bill? Do what? Motion on the bill. I have a second? Second all right. Clerk, will please call the roll.
Representative Dotson, Representative Pfister, Representative Freeland, Representative Pfister,
Yes.
Representative Freeland, Representative Grossberg,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative King,
Yes, sir.
Representative Kulkarni,
Yes.
Representative Lawrence, Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative Roberts,
Yes.
Representative Stalker, Representative Tate, Representative Truitt,
Yes.
Representative White, Representative Witten, Chair Pratt.
Yes. This bill does pass with favorable expression. I'd like to see you all, if possible, before it comes to the floor of the House, work to see if we can't work out your differences so that we don't have this on the floor of the House. But at this point in time, your bill is passed. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing it here shortly. So thank you.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next we have, this is Small Business Day at the Capitals. You notice the room filled up right after we started. We have some presenters from the Kentucky Chamber. If you wouldn't mind, please approach the table, introduce yourself for the record, and look forward to hearing the concerns of small business, which is near and dear to my heart.
John Hughes, Kentucky Chamber.
Sarah Whitaker. Sarah Whitaker.
Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for having us here today. The Kentucky Chamber is a convener. We get folks in the room when they need to be there. What gets misunderstood is the belief that our organization only advocates for Fortune 500 businesses, when in fact, Mr. Chairman, many of our businesses are made up of less than 100 employees, and many look like the businesses that you all have in your districts. With me today are many small business owners that operate similar businesses as you all. Beside me today is our small business chair, Sarah Whitaker, who would like to share some remarks.
Members of the committee, thank you for having me today. My name is Sarah Whitaker. I'm a small business owner, Williams Advertising, based in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I testified before this committee last year on why it's crucial to lower the income tax and how doing so specifically impacts my area of the state. Living on our state's southern border, I have seen firsthand the amount of businesses our state loses to our neighbors in Tennessee. I'm here today to say thank you for lowering our income tax last year and this year, and that I appreciate your continued support to make the Commonwealth more competitive, regionally, nationally, and globally. I also appreciate the action taken in last year's session on unemployment insurance reform and child care assistance. Growing Kentucky's workforce to meet ongoing demands of our economy is critical. We must continue to work towards addressing this crisis that businesses of all sizes are facing. For small businesses, every dollar counts. This is especially true today. With labor and materials costs rising rapidly, small business owners are looking everywhere they can for savings. I'm here today to advocate for state and local tax parity for small businesses. Just last month, I co-wrote an op-ed about how important it is to join 29 other states in passing legislation to allow small business owners to deduct a greater share of their state and local tax from their federal income tax liability. There is an IRS-approved workaround that, if approved, could save Kentucky businesses up to $40 million per year. This is a no-brainer for Kentucky, as it would be a no cost to the state budget. Members of the committee, addressing this state and local tax issue is a huge way to help small businesses across the Commonwealth, and we would certainly appreciate any support you can provide. Thank you for allowing me to testify today.
With Small Business Day at the Capitol, sponsored by the Chamber, we're happy to answer any questions on behalf of the members we represent that are here today. At lunch, we'll be on the Capitol lawn, given the weather and the forecast, so stop by and see us. We'll have some small business cookies for everyone.
Thank you. Do I have any questions for them? Well, as chair of this committee and a small business owner also, I feel your pain at times. You know, again, we create, I think, 68% of all the jobs in Kentucky. We are the major job creators, even though large companies get headlines, but we are the economic engine for Kentucky. And I've often said, now it's tongue in cheek, despite the best efforts of local, state, and federal government, we've managed to succeed. So thank you guys for being here today, and look forward to having you here at the Capitol. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Seeing no further business, do I hear a motion for adjournment? Do I hear a second?